Hello, in the previous videos we learned how to set up our third-person controller. It is time to use a humanoid character and animate that character to have a more realistic third-person controller. But to do that we need some animation clips. There are many sources which you could get variety of animation clips, and in this video I'm going to use a website called Mixamo. So this website basically provides you with a bunch of 3D models and also a vast variety of different animations. In this video I'm not going to do any coding, or I'm not going to change the game at all. All I do is downloading animations. Of course, if you have your own animations, you could just skip this video and go to the next one when I'm going to be setting up the animator. But in this video we are only focusing on downloading the animations we need for our third-person controller. So for a start I'm going to search idle here. As you can see, there is a bunch of idle animations here. I'll need two idle animations for a standing pose, one for when we are using free camera mode and another one is when we are using locked or fixed camera mode. You can choose any animations that you like, but for me I like this one for my free camera mode. So I'm just going to download this one. I'll change the format to FBX for Unity. I'm going to download it with the skin, no keyframe reduction, and 60 frames per second. I also going to choose this one for my fixed mode camera. But before downloading this, let's actually go to downloads and rename the one we downloaded before. I'm going to name it to stand idle. Let's go back and download the other one. I'll rename this to stand idle locked. We also need the idle for free camera mode and locked camera mode for our crouch pose. Let's go back and search idle crouch. Okay, I think this one is good for our crouch. I'm just going to download this one. And before we download another one, I'm going to rename this one to crouch idle. Also, this one I think is good for our crouch locked idle. So let's download this one. And let's rename this. Now that we have our idles, it's time to find some animations for walking and running. Let's start by searching walk. So let's choose one animation for walking. I like this one and I'm going to choose this one for a standing walk. And I'm going to rename this a stand walk. There is also another animation here for crouch walking. And I'm also going to use this, and let's download that. And I'm going to rename this to crouch walk. Next thing, we are going to need some running animations. So let's search through these animations. I like this one for sprinting. So let's download this and rename the file to stand sprinting. Now let's go back and download the running animation. I'm going to go further down and I like this one for our running. I'm going to rename this to a stand run. So now would be a great time to go and find an animation for crouch run, but unfortunately I've already searched through all the animations and couldn't find a proper animation for it. So we're gonna fix that later by using just crouch walking and changing the speed to make it look like running. But if you have an animation for that, that would be great and you could just use that. Now let's find some animations for the transition between crouch and standing. I'm gonna search crouch to stand. So here is a bunch of animations for transition between crouching and standing. I'm just going to use this one for crouch to stand. The speed is a little bit slow, so I'm just going to increase the speed. Let's just download this. I'm going to rename this to crouch to stand. And now we could reverse this for our stand to crouch, or we could just download another animation. And I think this is a good one for it. So let's just download this one. And let's not to forget to rename them. As you can see, some of them have the same name when you download them. So it would be better to rename them after you download each one. Just gonna rename it to stand to crouch. So now we have all the animations we need for our free camera mode. But for the locked camera mode, we need some strafe animations. So let's search strafe. So let's scroll down and see if we could find something useful. I think I like this one for the strafe running. So it would be running left. I'm just going to download this one. So let's rename this to stand run left. And here's the stand run right here. Let's also find some animations for walking, and I think these two would be great. And of course, let's rename it to stand walk right. And the other one would be stand walk left. Now all that remains is walking and running backwards. And we're going to search backward. Now let's scroll down and see if we find something that we like. I think these two are going to get the job done. This is for running and the other one for walking. So let's rename the file. We also need the walking backward. And one final thing that we need is a falling animation. And I'm going to scroll down and find an animation that I like. This one I think is good enough. And let's go and rename this file. I'm gonna name it falling. So I already searched everything and I couldn't find proper animation for crouching. So to make things less complicated, I'm just going to use camera locked mode and fixed mode only when player is standing, and I'm not gonna implement that on the crouching. So let's go back and just delete these two files. One is crouch idle. I'm just going to use crouch idle locked for that, and I'm not gonna use that one. And let's rename the crouch idle locked just to crouch idle. And another one is stand idle. I'm just gonna delete that one and rename stand idle locked to just stand idle. So these are all the animations we need. Let's go back to Unity. I'll open a folder for our animations. In this folder, I'm just going to create another folder and name it clips. And let's open these clips and drag and drop all these animations to that folder. Now let's select all these animations. Let's go to Rig, choose humanoid for the animation type and hit apply. Now if we go and check out the animations, we'll see that they are now working in Unity. Of course, there is still some adjustments that we need to do. So we need to go and select every single one of them individually. Go to the animation tab. Find this area named clip and we need to rename this to the animation name. So I'm just going to copy the file name and here I'm just going to paste it. Of course, there is no paste on the right click, so I'm just going to hit Ctrl and V keys on my PC and I'm going to hit enter as you can see, the name is going to be changed. I'm also going to check loop time here, and I'm also going to check loop pose. Also, let's check bake into the pose for the root transform rotation, and also do the same thing for the root transform position Y and root transform position XY. And I'm going to select original for every single one of them. Now if we play this, we'll see that we have an animation and it's not using the root motion. We don't need the root motion for this. And I'm just going to apply the changes, and I'm going to do this for every single one of them. Let's actually do this for this one too. Just gonna copy the name here, paste it here and hit enter. This one is different because we need this to play only one time. This is a crouch to stand. We don't need this to be looped. So we are not going to check loop time here, but we are going to check bake into the pose for the root transforms. And I'm also going to select original for these ones. Let's apply this one. The same thing for the stand to crouch. This one also don't need to be looped. So let's do this one too. I'm gonna rename that. I'm not gonna loop this one, but I'm gonna bake into pose. And as you can see, the animation working properly. Let's apply this. So as I mentioned, stand to crouch and crouch to stand are only two animations that don't need to be looped, which means this checkbox should be unchecked. The other animations need to be looped and these checkboxes need to be checked for them. So I'm gonna do this one quick and change all other animations so it would be easy to use them properly later without any problem. Now, as you might notice, it takes some time, so I'm gonna pause the video and resume it after I applied all the settings to all these animations. So I applied the settings to all the animations, and in the next video we're going to create an animator and use a humanoid character for our third-person controller and use this animation clips to animate that character. So one thing you should know that because of the Maximo copyright terms, I am unable to provide you with the link to download these animations. I need to honor the copyright terms, but if you follow my instructions in this video, you could just download them yourself, and it's not in the violation with the Maximo terms because all these animations are free and you could freely use them in your project. So that's it for this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave me a comment if you had any questions or send me an email. Thank you for watching.